And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis. You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis. You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Good morning, Car Clinic affiliates. Your Car Clinic minutes for the week of February 8th, 2016 are about to head your way, so be sure to press the record button. As always, thank you for listening to and broadcasting Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Have an excellent weekend.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with another Car Clinic Minute. More may be the plaintive cry of turbocharged consumers, but it's also the voice of your vehicle's engine. When I come back, I'll tell you what the automotive beast wants more of. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. American ethanol producers are fully engaged in the race to the next generation. Since the ethanol molecule is identical across sourcing types, many existing ethanol biorefineries are exploring bolt-on technologies that will enable production of ethanol from both grain starch and cellulosic material at the same facility. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Like consumers burn products and services and beg for more, so do vehicle engines burn gas and air and beg for more. And just like credit limits restrict buying power, so do limitations on number and size of cylinders reduce automotive power. Okay, so how do hungry engines get their power fix? Turbochargers. Here's how one works. Trapped exhaust air spins a turbine, which then turns an air pump, which compresses air. This squeezed air takes up less room, so more can be shoved into an engine's cylinders. When more air meets gas, kapow! More energy or horsepower is created. Thankfully, aftermarket turbochargers are readily available to feed the consumer beast. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. We all know men are from Mars and women are from Venus. At the service desk, who asks more questions, listens better, and makes decisions based on available information? When I come back, I'll tell you. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. The Department of Agriculture determined ethanol's energy balance to be 1.7 to 2.3. That's to say, today's ethanol production yields nearly twice as much energy as it took to create. Also, in 2011, ethanol use reduced tailpipe CO2 equivalent emissions by 25.3 metric tons. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Move over, Mars. Venus is better at the service desk. Why? Many men believe they're born with car chromosomes or fix-it genes. They tend to tell service managers what's wrong. Trouble is, premature diagnosis could be faulty and expensive. But women relate what their cars do that they don't like. Women talk about symptoms like strange noises or sensations. Keep up the good work, ladies. Advice for Mars and Venus? Don't stop with descriptions. Take your technician for a spin. Let them see and feel what you're talking about. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Breathe deeply. Get in touch with your inner self and tap into all that energy. Aha! You think I'm talking about yoga, but it's really about cars. When I come back, I'll rev you up. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. The American race we all can win is independence from foreign oil, and the American ethanol industry's stepping up the pace. Scores of ethanol technology companies are already into the demonstration phase of production, proving that technologies which convert everything from corn stalks to grasses to garbage to algae are viable. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Top performance in humans and in cars depends on oxygen intake. But how do you know if your car's getting enough? That's the job of close-pin-sized gadgets called oxygen sensors. When in tip-top shape, these monitors measure oxygen in the exhaust, then signal onboard computers to adjust fuel-air ratios in the engine for complete combustion. But worn sensors give faulty cues, resulting in poor performance, higher emissions, and lower gas mileage. So check out those sensors. Then you and your car can breathe easy. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Boy Scouts learn it to earn their Eagle badges. And if you know it, you may save a few Eagles of your own on dollar bills. Be prepared. When I come back, I'll tell you. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Octane rating is the measure of the anti-knock index of a motor fuel. Higher octane fuel, like pure ethanol at 113, withstands higher pressure and temperature before spontaneous detonation, which causes engine knock and damage. Ethanol also optimizes controlled combustion at the flame front. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Being prepared helps save two rare species, money and life. Every year, 1 in 11 Americans is involved in an accident, so listen up. Carry a jack, spare tire, jumper cables, and learn how to use them. Know what's in your insurance policy and who to call. Keep a card listing medical conditions and allergies. Invest in a cell phone. 911 services could be the stitch in time that saves 9 lives, that is. Go ahead, make your Scoutmaster proud. Earn your merit badge as a highway hero. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Winter vacations, skiing, sledding, hot chocolate in the lodge. But no such luck for transmission repair technicians. When I come back, I'll tell you why winter snowstorms keep transmission shops busy. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Grueling testing of E15, or 15% ethanol blended fuel, by the Department of Energy is in a league all its own. 86 vehicles were driven more than 6 million miles. That's 12 round trips to the moon. No discernible difference was found in engine wear between test fuels in model years 2001 and later. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Transmission shops are busiest after a heavy snowstorm because, think about it, what do we do when we're stuck in snow? If you said rock our cars back and forth from low gear to reverse, you're right. Unfortunately, for our cars and our wallets, we rock way too hard, resulting in overheated automatic transmissions and damaged universal joints. So the next time you're stuck in snow, easy does it. And remember, if you're really stuck, a tow truck may be cheaper than a new transmission. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Count down to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll-free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. Welcome to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. We have a special surprise for you this morning. I see that we already have calls lined up in the queue. Rebecca from Missouri, you certainly dialed in first. So following Joey Chitwood III from Daytona Beach, we will go to Rebecca in Missouri. And speaking of Daytona Beach, Daytona Rising, one of the largest, most ambitious initiatives I think that I've seen in many years. And we're talking about a $400 million, yes, that's the correct figure, a $400 million renovation expansion of the Daytona International Speedway. And Joey Chitwood III, president of the International Speedway Corporation's flagship motorsports facility, will be with us to give us an overview of what you might expect if you decide that this is the year you're going to go to the Daytona 500. And I can tell you, this is the year that everyone should go to the 500 because it is indeed a special year. It's 3 years in the making, and they're just hundreds of thousands of pounds of metal. But what's more important is how it all came together. And when we come back, we're going to have Joey Chitwood with us. He'll share with us some of the travels and some of the journeys that it took to go from where they were in 2013 to where they are today. You will not want to miss this. And Rebecca, you stay right there. And folks, I invite you to call 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. I'll be back. Don't touch that dial.
Your car and your life have a lot of moving parts, and your car's battery is what keeps it all going. Here's something to keep in mind. While all batteries may look the same on the outside, it's what's inside that matters. So be sure to choose a battery with power frame technology inside. It's stronger, more durable, and keeps you going longer. That means you can count on a battery with power frame to be there start after start. Here's another reason to feel good about choosing a battery with power frame inside. It's manufactured using the latest sustainable processes. You're moving fast, and you don't want anything to slow you down, especially an unreliable battery. So the next time you need to replace your car's battery, make sure you choose one with power frame technology inside. Look for power frame on the outside, and know there's true strength on the inside.
Denso has a tradition of innovation. Using their OE expertise, Denso products are manufactured to give you the right part and the right fit first time, every time. Like Denso's new Iridium TT spark plugs. The patented formula features the highest iridium concentration of any spark plug and outperforms in the most severe engine temperatures, resisting oxidation and voltage wear. Denso Iridium TTs give you the power and torque found in some of the most powerful engines on the road. You'll think you're in a new car. No other spark plugs give you this much performance while lasting over 100,000 miles. The Iridium TT's more complete combustion means superior fuel economy and fewer carbon emissions. Better for your wallet, better for the environment. And Denso's proprietary 360-degree laser welding process creates a high-quality bond that ensures structural support. Denso Iridium TT spark plugs, they're that good. To find your nearest dealer, go to DensoTT.com. And now through March 31st, Denso is offering up to $16 back on the purchase of their new Iridium TT spark plugs.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Like Shakespeare, we ask the question, what's in a name? Ours is pretty blah. We're Geico, not to be confused with Gecko, a small tree lizard. And no, Geico doesn't have a sister company named Girl Co. So, in the absence of a perfect name, focus group tested for hipness, We offer car insurance at a fair price. In 15 minutes, you could save 15%. Call 1-800-947-AUTO, 1-800-947-AUTO. Our name may not be cool, but saving money always is. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
I tend to put things off. For example, I put off getting a home equity line of credit for a while. Then one day, when I should have been doing my laundry, I went to LendingTree.com. I filled out one simple form and got 4 offers back within hours. Then I chose the line of credit that was right for me. Who knows? I may even get around to using it someday.
When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com. Equal housing opportunity. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. What a terrific show we have lined up for you today. I have to tell you, I'm excited because you're going to be hearing very soon from Daytona Beach and Joey Chitwood III. And he's quite an icon in and of himself. I'll tell you what we can do, and Kevin, you let me know if you think we should go ahead and take Rebecca's call, or actually I think he may be buzzing in now. I will give you sort of an overview so that you can better understand what we are going to do this morning. But instead, what I will do is I will, as soon as we can get him on hold, just ask him to hold, and then we'll put him going. And then we will go from there, and I will tell you this is really going to be exciting. So, Kevin, just let me know when he's on hold, and you can put him on the air. Okay, that is really great. So let me share with you folks a little something about Joey Chitwood. He serves as president of the International Speedway Corporation's flagship motorsports facility, the Daytona International Speedway. And as president, he oversees all the speedway activities, including the event, entertainment, fun, and fan amenities and ticket sales. He assumed this role in 2010, and Daytona International Speedway has never been the same. Mr. Chitwood sits on the board trustees of the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America. He also serves on the boards of the Daytona Beach Chamber of Commerce and the Central Florida Partnership. He's a member of the Advisory Committee for the Sports Executive Leadership Conference. He was previously a member of the Indianapolis 2012 Super Bowl Bid Committee and the 500 Festival Board of Directors, and was an adjunct professor at Marion College in Indianapolis. Contrary to popular belief, he is not the brother of Daytona Beach Police Chief Mike Chitwood. I want to welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic Joey Chitwood III. Joey, glad to have you back in the house.
Oh, thank you so much. I get a little tired. You reading that? I can't believe I do all that stuff and trying to build a racetrack at the same time, but things are good right now. We are weeks away, obviously, from our big Daytona 500 and just trying to put the finishing touches on the Speedway. It's crazy that we're getting ready to start off the new year already.
I understand from the circuit that Lisa France Kennedy's made the statement that Daytona Rising, and folks, Daytona Rising is the growth effort, and the renovation of the Speedway isn't for us, it's for the fans. So, Joey, give us the elevator, the 30,000-foot view of what we're expected to see when we come to Daytona this year.
Well, you're going to see a complete transformation of a Speedway into a motorsports stadium, the first and only of its kind. We've spent $400 million, the largest investment in our company's history in anything, to really change the fan experience. So whether it's concourses that stretch 9/10 of a mile long, 40 escalators, 17 elevators, 1,400 TV screens, triple the concessions, double the restrooms, all 101,000 brand new seats, 20 and 21 inches with chair backs, armrests, and cup holders, phenomenal sight lines, Wi-Fi in all the concourses. We think we've taken the Daytona International Speedway into the now and the future, and we're excited because when our fans show up, they're going to experience a property they've never experienced before. It's going to make their enjoyment of the Daytona 500 second to none. And even when I walk around after 2.5 years of seeing this project every day, I'm still amazed at what we're able to accomplish. It's just been phenomenal to do something this special.
And during this time of renovation, weren't you also carrying on business as usual?
We were. We never postponed any events or any races. And after the fact, saying to myself, maybe we should have. It was a challenge running the property and building the property at the same time. But we kept running our Daytona 500s and our Rolex 24s and our Coke Zeros, and it was unique. Fans saw a property truly under construction. But I think the payoff is coming in the next 2 weeks. We had a Rolex 24 a couple weeks ago, and I think fans just were blown away at the changes and how great the property is. But when we're at max capacity for the Daytona 500, I think our fans are really going to enjoy it. And when you think about it, Big Bill did something unique and no one had ever thought about it. He built this speedway, moving racing from the beaches to the high banks, and 50 years later, we're really walking in his footsteps and doing something that no one else has ever done, creating the first and only motorsports stadium. And we see stadiums being built left and right in the football world, new arenas in basketball, new stadiums in baseball. But really, from a motorsports perspective, this is the first time to do something this unique, which is to reimagine this icon. So I like the fact that our team, the Daytona team, was front and center, right in the middle of it all. And although I will tell you, I'll be happy when February 26th rolls around. Be nice to catch our breath for a little bit.
Yeah, and then get ready for next year, or at least get ready for Coke Zero, which will be coming along in July. A quick question about the overview. When you're thinking about spending, or you and the board of directors and the team there, $400 million on an existing facility that was not shabby in and of itself. I've been there a dozen times. And versus building another track somewhere, how do you make that decision to invest? I mean, that's a huge, not only investment, but there's a lot of faith underlying there as well.
From day one, we had the full commitment of the senior management team and the France family. When we walk them through to understand really the value that Daytona represents for our corporation and really for the industry as a whole, and seeing where we were and after 50 years what we needed to accomplish, there wasn't a doubt that we were going to make sure Daytona continues to be that flagship brand. And that $400 million will cement that status moving forward. But I will tell you, from day one, no one ever faltered. They all realized we're here because Daytona has led the way. We're going to make sure that Daytona continues to lead the way. And yes, there's stressful times. There's not much sleep when you're dealing with that kind of money and that kind of construction, but the executive support was second to none. And Jim France, from day one, was so excited about our plan, and I'll tell you what, he's been so supportive. We actually had him install the final seat of the project. So think about that. His dad built the property in the first place, and Jim came in to put that last seat in on that final 101,000. So pretty excited that the family continues that tradition.
Yeah, now you're tugging at my heartstrings. One question, I understand that because of the length of the stands and the curvature of the earth, when they designed the steel, they had to compensate some 7 inches for the curvature of the earth. Is that correct?
That is correct. These concourses stretch 9/10 of a mile long. And you think about these other stadiums that are built, football, baseball, basketball, they're small. I mean, we can fit football stadiums inside the Daytona International Speedway, 15 of them. And so this grandstand is so long, and it's a concourse that is contiguous with concrete, so they had to make sure they get that level right. And it's amazing. It's truly a modern marvel when you think about it. 31 million pounds of steel. We think that rests on the shoulders of legends, all the heroes of our sport here, but 31 million pounds of steel, 9/10 of a mile long. Again, this is why it took 2.5 years. It is truly tremendous, and it's really breathtaking when you think about it in terms of our marquee sign and what you see. I mean, if you're on the east coast of Florida, I think you can see the Daytona International Speedway.
Well, certainly Daytona Rising will rise that complete area ahead. So now it appears that the state of Florida, including Daytona Beach and Daytona International Speedway and Disney, here we grow again. So we will be the destination state of the nation, no doubt about it. And especially when you look at the cold weather and you look at the racing, and you look at all the attributes that you bring and your team has brought. I want to touch on one little technical term, solar panels. Give us an overview of why and what they're used for.
Well, for us, we have a great relationship with Florida Power and Light. They're actually a partner of ours for our truck race. Well, they've also actually installed solar panels on the property in 3 different locations. One is our solar pavilion, which is outside the front stretch. It's on our midway area, so fans actually can use it as a gathering area, a shade structure. We also have some canopies inside in the fan zone in terms of solar panel install. And then in our Lot 10, which is south of the track, a third area that we've installed. So it'll make us, I think, the 4th or 5th largest solar panel panel install at a sports facility in the Southeast, and just another way to give back to the community. That power that we generate goes back into the grid for this community, so it's just another chance to kind of do the right thing as we manage, and with a great partnership like FPL, who'd ever think we'd have solar panels at the Daytona International Speedway?
I'm sure Bill France would not have imagined that. We talked about it 9/10 of a mile long. How high are the seats?
So we're about 180 feet tall. It's the maximum allowed because of our location next to the airport. And I have to tell you, the sight lines at that level are phenomenal. You can see all the way to New Smyrna Beach. It's ridiculous how great it is. You can see every inch of not just the oval, but the road course as well. We had a ton of fans sitting in the Turn 1 area of the new stadium to watch the Rolex 24, and we never really get fans to sit outside the track for that event. So it's already nice to see it's resonating even with our road course fans. Again, best sight lines in the house, top row, and this new top row is phenomenal.
One final question before I let you go. If I want to go up, or if someone likes to go up real high, that appears to be on stadiums, and you mentioned stadiums, there are ramps and ramps and ramps and steps and steps. How do we get there?
You would take 3 sets of escalators to get to level 4, and if you had the top row, you'd only walk 20 more rows up to the top. But you can get there basically 80% of the way, 90% of the way by taking 3 sets of escalators, and I think that's going to make our fans very happy in terms of their moving around the property.
I think your fans are going to come in to watch the track and to enjoy the facility. And, of course, it's not bad to have a race or two there as well. Joey Chitwood III, president of the Daytona International Speedway. Joey, thanks for joining us on Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye-bye.
Well, it just doesn't get any better than that, folks. There you have it. When I come back, I'll take your call to 888 Car Clinic.
This is Bobby Likis with a shout-out to all fans of the Daytona 500. WNDB and the Car Clinic Network are sending 2 lucky people to the Daytona 500 on us. You'll enjoy hotel accommodations Saturday and Sunday nights, February 21st and 22nd, compliments of Daytona Beach Country Inn and Suites. And then on Sunday, February 23rd, you'll be our guest at the 58th running of the Daytona 500, compliments of the Daytona Flea and Farmers Market. Go to Facebook.com/Bobby Likis and message me, Bobby, I want to win Daytona 500 tickets. Or go to WNDBNewsTalk.com for more ways to win. Be a winner. See firsthand the new $400 million improvements made to the Daytona International Speedway, home of NASCAR. So go to Facebook.com/Bobby Likis and message me, Bobby, I want to win Daytona 500 tickets. Deadline is Sunday, February 14th. Winner announced on the 15th. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Don't knock it. Let's talk octane and ethanol. Octane rating is the standard measure of the anti-knock index, or AKI, of a motor fuel. The higher the octane, the less the knock. Why? Higher octane fuel, like pure ethanol at 113, can withstand higher cylinder pressure and higher temperature before detonation, which is an uncontrolled explosion within the cylinder that causes engine knock and damage. Ethanol not only protects against detonation, but also ethanol facilitates faster and lower temperature controlled combustion at the flame front, the place in the engine where the spark plug ignites the fuel. The result is less knock, more power, and better performance. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Drive to ethanolrfa.org.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
The airlines like to have sales. Summer getaway sales, holiday sales, winter sales. Truth is, at any moment, some airline somewhere is on sale with low fares to great destinations. Travelocity knows exactly what's going on, who's on sale, to where, and when, at over 700 airlines worldwide. We even have this nifty feature that lets you look at a calendar so that you can see exactly the days the great fares are available. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere. AOL keyword, travel.
Hung. Guess my temperature.
It's 2 a.m. Go to sleep.
Come on, one guess.
I'm 98.
Higher.
Higher, 99.
You're getting warmer. Wait, I'm getting warmer.
Cold symptoms keeping you from getting a good night's sleep? Get NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever so you can sleep better to feel better medicine. Use as directed.
One more guess.
100?
Yes. Tell her what she's won, Bob.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis. I'm almost out of breath. I'm just so excited about the fact that we share the information about the Daytona International Speedway, and the fact that this year is going to be no doubt the biggest, the best ever for the Daytona 500. With the $400 million. And I was trying to think that in our facility, which is rather old in and of itself. Now, the Daytona track was built in 1959, Bill France. We built our service shop in 1975, and then we added in 1976, and then in 88 we added again. And we recently have been under renovations, and we're going through some right now. So we're probably going to spend somewhere north of $40,000. That's a long way, Kevin, from $400 million.
Yeah, it's a bit of a step up, I think.
A bit of a step up, yeah. Well, I guess it's all about the zeros on the end of the numbers. Let's go to Missouri, take a call, and then we're going to go to Jim, our car clinic reporter, and get more information. And, folks, this is the time for you to get in if you want to join today's show, even if you don't want to. Even if you don't have a car question or a car problem, give us a call, and we'll have some car fun. 888-227-2546. Rebecca, thanks for holding.
Thank you, Bobby, for taking my call.
You're welcome.
I have a question in regards to my 2011 Nissan Rogue and the transmission.
Yes, ma'am.
Drove home last night from work, 40 miles on the highway, doing 75 miles an hour. Get off on my exit. I stop at the stop sign, make my right turn onto a two-lane road, and my tires feel like they're square. So I get out, make sure the tires are okay, lug nuts okay, everything's fine, so I go forward. Car doesn't want to go, but I push it because I've got 3 more miles to go to get home.
Got it.
Get home, I'm in the driveway, and she won't go no more. Won't go up the driveway, won't go in reverse, nothing. Then this morning at 22 degrees, I go out and I try to, we got to get her out of the driveway. So I put it in low and I step on the accelerator kind of halfway, a little bit more than halfway. The car starts moving, so I've got it in the garage. What am I looking at?
Transmission. That's a C. That's
okay.
You have a great sense of humor. I just told you, that you have this transmission disease, and you're laughing. This is really great, Rebecca. It's not great that you have a transmission problem, but that's as memory serves, a CVT transmission. That is a common problem, and it's going to need to be replaced. You will not want to have someone. Well, you can't repair it. You replace the assembly. You may look for. Gosh, I don't know. Let's talk about this just a minute. Do you like the car? Has it been a good car, or could you be convinced to trade it in now?
Well, I have loved my car. I haven't even looked at another car, but now I don't know what to do.
Well, I think you should look. I think here let's talk about it. This is 2016. You've got a 6-year-old car. You've got 100,000 miles, right?
114,800.
So that would make someone a good used car, but you're going to spend $5,000 on that car and a heartbeat for a transmission. And when you do that, you're still going to have the same car. Now, granted, the transmission that is replaced, and I would recommend the dealer for replacement transmission, and that $5,000 is a guesstimate. Now, I haven't priced one, but you want to make sure that whatever transmission is installed in place of yours has been upgraded to the 2016 parts or 2015 parts, or at least whatever parts are and have been upgraded between the time you bought your car and today. And I say this because Nissan, see, our Zach Cash is one of our ASE master certified technicians, and to be master certified in ASE, you have to have accomplished all 8 categories. I won't go into the categories except to say that's like gilding the lily, except it just shows the commitment of an individual technician who wants to grow his knowledge and then become a master, a Jedi, you might say. And that's what I think of when I think of Zach. And during his stint at a Nissan dealership, he literally installed 12 of those transmissions in 1 week for new cars that came off the truck that were not sold because they had a change at the factory and they were a stop sale. So there have been problems, and you have 110,000 miles, so you got to wipe the slate clean. I said all that to say that it just might be an opportunity for you to think about another automobile at this time, because that 6 or 5 or 7,000, and I don't know what that figure would be, is for the transmission, but it's time for other things to start happening in unison, and that would be ignition coils and oil leaks and suspension parts. Those are the standard gotchas on cars that have beginning to age, and truly ignition coils, and those are things that can be replaced. Now, it's like I've said before, Rebecca, if you drive the new off the car, you have to put new parts on it to maintain it. And so, new or reman, but that's the point. That's the essence of it. So I think you should consider another car.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you know if something like this would be covered under any warranty?
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
But the Nissan dealer might be willing to. It just depends. I mean, it's worth a phone call. Talk to the service manager. Of course, if you talk to the front office, they're going to want to sell you a car. If you talk to the back, they're going to want to fix your car. I mean, that's what we do. I mean, a surgeon, opens people up. In internal medicine, gets them better using medicine. I mean, that's maybe not the best analogy I can think of, but if you know what I'm saying.
We've taken care of the car. It hasn't been neglected whatsoever. Just a few months ago, had it in, to do the 100,000 checkup or whatever.
Well, then you may well be advised to invest in that car, because obviously it's a paid-for vehicle and you've done your homework. There's nothing that you could have done that would have stopped this. It was inevitable. Sooner than later it would happen. So I now, after talking with you, I'm leaning toward investing the money to replace that unit, but just make sure that whenever that unit's replaced, and if you go that route, that you want to make sure that the latest and greatest replacement assembly is installed in that vehicle.
All right.
Okay. Sorry for the bad news.
Thank you so much.
Happy Saturday anyway.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. 888-227-2546. Let's go to Michigan. Talk to Jim, our car clinic reporter. Good morning, sir, Jim.
Oh, good morning, Sir Bobby. About the report on the new improvements in your racetrack in your area. Boy, that's fantastic.
It is.
I'd take the escalator up if it were me, I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you, I just can't. It makes me want to, and of course, for me to go this year, that means that I would have to, after the broadcast on a Saturday, I would have to drive to Daytona, which is 6 hours. So I'd get there, leave here, and then I lose an hour because that's Eastern time and we're on Central time. So that's a 7-hour trip for me. So I'd get there at 7 o'clock Saturday night, have dinner just in time to go to bed, just in time to get up, and watch the race. And then I would have to come back to Pensacola. But I'm actually considering doing that. I mean, to see, after talking to Joey Chitwood, I mean, there are 3 new concourse levels that span the front stretch. There's 5 expanded and redesigned fan entrances, and they call these entrances, now get this, Jim, they're calling the entrance for the fans injectors, fan injectors. I mean, it really is. There's 11 social areas throughout the front stretch that are like neighborhoods, and each the size of a football field. There are 14 elevators, 40 escalators, over 60 new trackside suites. And, the $400 million investment, I'm sure, was spent wisely. And you're not dealing with someone trying to create a facility. You have folks here and contractors that are already in that business, have operated that facility. So they not only did they know what was needed and what the fans would like, they also knew what to update and upgrade along the way that we wouldn't have any idea about. In other words, like they added a tunnel on turn 1 recently because they needed an extra room for the big semis to come through. So I can only say that it reminds me of a car that I restored. When I finished the car, I looked back and I said, well, I wish I had done this. And then about 4 years later, I took that same restored automobile and went through it again. And then that's when you can really find a good classic restored or retro mod, is when you can find a car that's been owned by someone, restored, and then you get tired of it because you want to go back and change the things that you should have changed to start with, or maybe you didn't know about until you got through it. And then 4, 5, 6 years into the car, now you want to start a whole new project. There's when you find a really great classic car. I mention that because I've been there, done that, and I mention that because I'm currently looking for a 1955 Chevrolet 2-door post resto mod, but it's got to be the nicest car on the planet. And anyway, you called in for a report, and I've taken the mic away from you. Now I want to say this, because we have a hard break coming up. I'd like for you to give us the essence of the report. We'll have the break, and folks, you can stay tuned through the break, and Jim, if you have the time. So let's get started, and then when the break comes, we'll just come back to you afterwards, okay?
Okay, Bobby, that sounds great.
Great.
We're talking about Tata Motors this time, and I always have fun with the name Tata. Anyway, they're going to have to change the name of the car. They didn't know it when they named it. They said soon it will be changed because it's named after that new virus that's frightening people in South America and North America, and even reports of it here in America, which could cause many birth defects in a child with a smaller head. That's an interesting story, and we can go ahead and tell you more right after the break.
Well, that is interesting, and when you hear about new viruses and you hear about cars, you know what that reminds me of? We've got a couple of seconds before the break comes up, but Jim, what this reminds me of was the K900 Kia that Michael Sprague sent to me to drive for a week. I understood, and I don't know, I never really asked him specifically on the air because this was a behind-the-scenes change. They originally named that car K9, and then they found out that in the States, K9 means dog, and refers to a dog, and so they named it K900 because they already had all the materials. So, yeah, names are funny. Touareg. Okay, break coming up, then you're back.
This is Bobby Likis with a shout-out to all fans of the Daytona 500. WNDB and the Car Clinic Network are sending 2 lucky people to the Daytona 500 on us. You'll enjoy hotel accommodations Saturday and Sunday nights, February 21st and 22nd, compliments of Daytona Beach Country Inn and Suites. And then on Sunday, February 23rd, you'll be our guest at the 58th running of the Daytona 500, compliments of the Daytona Flea and Farmers Market. Go to Facebook.com/Bobby Likis and message me, Bobby, I want to win Daytona 500 tickets. Or go to WNDBNewsTalk.com for more ways to win. Be a winner. See firsthand the new $400 million improvements made to the Daytona International Speedway, home of NASCAR. So go to Facebook.com/Bobby Likis and message me, Bobby, I want to win Daytona 500 tickets. Deadline is Sunday, February 14th. Winner announced on the 15th.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Waking up can be a chore, but morning's knocking on my front door. Know just what I'll do. Put on a pot of Folgers brew. Mountain grown aroma hits the spot. Helps me give all that I've got. An opportunity to start out smiling and happy. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
I'm privileged to be involved with Capstone Adaptive Learning, formerly known as United Cerebral Palsy, for over 25 years. Since 1953, Capstone has provided quality care programs for persons with developmental disabilities like autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, and intellectual disabilities. Dr. Sherry White with her team are dedicated to Capstone's clients, and 100% of your contributions stay local to serve those in this community. Go to capstoneadaptivelearning.org to see the difference Capstone makes.
If you're familiar with the Kulseford section of the newspaper, you probably understand this message quite well. You see, in the Kulseford section, everything gets abbreviated. Consonants, vowels, prepositional phrases, the very building blocks of our language are thrown right out the window. And that makes it difficult when you're trying to sell your car. You've got a limited amount of space to work with. And by the time you abbreviate the description of your car down to a couple of fragmented sentences, it sounds less like a car and more like a Bluck sedan with sniffed like new condition limals. No wonder more people are selling their cars through eBay Motors. They can post unlimited text and photo descriptions, and with a nationwide marketplace, they're likely to sell it for more. Plus, both parties can be covered by eBay's Vehicle Protection Program. Buyers are happy, sellers are happy, and no one's abbreviating. eBay Motors, a better way to sell your car.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I invite you to call at 888. Allison will put you in the queue, and I'll put you on the air. It's 888 Car Clinic, 888. I'll make it easier for you. 227-2546. Back to Jim. Jim, you're talking about the virus. You're talking about also the name of the Tata motor car, and they changed it. What was that name?
The name was Zika, just like the disease, but they haven't chosen a new name. It will be in an auto show, and after that time, when the auto show is completely shown with the car, at that time the name will be changed, but not yet announced. That's
very, very interesting. It's interesting to me what Elon Musk, and you and I certainly have a mutual admiration for that individual. I wonder what he does between 2 and 4 in the morning, because this gentleman not only comes up with ideas that are over the top, he comes up with top ideas that are over those ideas, and he pulls the trigger. And a lot of us dream from time to time. And there are certain things I'd like to do in a perfect world, and realizing there's no such thing. But by golly, I think he not single-handedly, because no one really does anything single-handedly, but he certainly has been a leader in the growth and no doubt in the consumer acceptance of electric cars. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that completely. In fact, recently he's applied for a dealership license in Michigan, which is being considered, and they still have a small investigation to go to before they will decide whether they're going to give it to him or not. Now, his car is so popular that people in Michigan buy the car. People have to go online and get it on the internet, whatever way they can get it, or go to another border state. They want a Tesla, so he knows he has a potential big market here in Michigan.
So his business model, and therein lies the problem. His business model undercuts or undermines the traditional franchise model that exists today, and therefore the NADA, the National Association of Dealers, really is trying to block him from selling. He's doing what Apple does, and they're trying to stop that. So it'll be interesting to watch to see that Michigan allows that. What's your take on that?
Well, I hope they do allow it. I think he's going to have an even stronger pull when he brings in a $30,000 vehicle in the year 2017 is where it's slated at this point. And if he's got the buyers and it's going to benefit the growth of Michigan, I don't see where Michigan loses.
Well, what about service of the automobile and having...
Well, if he's going to have a dealership, he's got to have a service center with it.
Oh, now we're talking... See, I didn't get that part, because it was my understanding that he was just going to have an outlet there, but not a full-fledged dealership.
No, he has to have a service center. That's the idea.
Well, I didn't get that part.
Okay, that's okay, Bobby. But, I mean, if you get that, when I'll retract my statement months back, Well, I said I wouldn't buy a Tesla. First of all, I can't afford one. But if I could, I wouldn't buy a car that couldn't be serviced in my local area.
Well, I'm with you as well, and there's a gentleman here along the Gulf Coast that owns Trundle Marine, and I've actually ridden in his vehicle. We've talked about this on the program before, and he told me that whenever he had a problem, there was a dealer, Kevin, he said South Florida, I believe.
I think he said South Florida has one, but he sent his to Atlanta because that's actually a little bit closer to us.
Closer to us, okay.
North.
And what they did, they brought him a new loaner to drive, and they took his car away and they fixed it and they brought it back. And so, I mean, that's concierge service, no doubt. And they're not Elon Musk and Tesla. They're not going to allow a servicing issue to stop the growth of that company because they're so deeply involved in it and they're committed to it.
They're deeply committed to the company, and I think they're deeply committed to the whole United States and the fact that their battery that they're introducing to put in your home, which could run your home for a week without a noisy generator, is a fantastic projection into the future.
I agree. The future is right around the corner. In fact, we're living it today. Jim, thank you so much for your call, and always great talking with you.
All right, ta-ta till next week.
Ta. Ta-ta. That's funny. That is funny. Huh? You think, Kevin?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Okay. Okay. 888-227-2546 from Arkansas. Jerry, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, Bobby, how are you?
I'm good. I'm great. How about yourself?
Oh, okay. I just purchased a new 2016 Nissan Frontier with the V6. I wanted your professional opinion versus the other trucks. They're already down. They don't like it. The customer, all these professionals that say it's not the best small truck on the market. And I just wanted your opinion of it.
Well, let me say this. We had a Frontier in here. It wasn't a new one. It was an 08, and we were talking about it. In fact, we had it in here for about a week because it had some catalytic converter problems. It had erratic codes that would come and go, but we cleared them and they would come back. But it ran okay, so it wasn't an issue where we started replacing parts because we just didn't want to go there. Specifically, it was the transmission module, and that was a common problem. It was a computer in the transmission that controls it, and so that was a common problem. But it had power, and a gentleman had just bought this vehicle. Now, we're talking used, but it has to do with what you're talking about. The general consensus...
Right. I was impressed with the engine, and this is a little rocket ship. I've never owned a Nissan before, but I got a real good deal on it. I give $17,500 after my trade-in. I looked at the other ones, and for what I got, I think I got a pretty good buy. What do you think?
I agree, and to that end, on this particular vehicle, I would talk to Zach, who, as I mentioned him earlier, he's our Nissan specialist, and he really, really is great. And also, our general manager, Brennan Beasley, also has a stint with Nissan, so he's very familiar with those cars as well, and those trucks as well. And collectively, the general consensus was, well, Bobby, other than the transmission issue, which wasn't a transmission but was an electric module issue, and a couple of other exhaust manifolds, which you can buy aftermarket, that really are beautifully done. In fact, we bought a Dorman product that was a fit. It was a plug and play. Literally, it looked identical to the original one that came off the factory, and it was a little bit pricey. But when you consider it's still 40% cheaper than the OE, it was good for our customer, and it was good for us. So the bottom line is that we all liked this vehicle. We all agreed that it was a solid truck, and we're talking about a truck that had 100,000 miles on it and was an 08 model. And it looked great, so I don't see anything but good. And then there's a gentleman that calls, haven't heard from him in a while, from South Carolina, that has a Nissan Frontier. And he calls and he said, well, yeah, Bobby, I've got 138,000 miles, and I put plugs in it at 100,000. What do you think? What else should I do to it? I mean, when you get calls from people that have X thousands of miles on their vehicles, and they have minor problems, that's a big deal. I mean, that's a testimony to the solidarity of the vehicle. So for me, it's a heads up. I like that vehicle. And I think for the price, you bought a lot of vehicle for the price, and from a standpoint of usability, I think you're going to run the wheels off of it, and I don't mean literally, but certainly I think you'll get a lot of miles out of it.
Right. Okay. The other question I had, my 07 Chevy Colorado, I got 125,000 miles out of it, and it started giving me trouble. So I wasn't going to put that kind of money back in a vehicle with that kind of miles, so I got rid of it.
Well, you see,
thank you, Bobby.
Thank you. And Jerry, one more thing. You mentioned it's an 07, and I was talking to Rebecca earlier in the program about her Nissan, and hers was an 08, and so you know it had about 110,000 or whatever, and you've got 130,000. It's not the mileage that is the real issue with vehicles. It's the age, because the elastomers can't last, and there's a lot of rubber parts used.
Right.
Engine mounts, shackles for the springs, strut mounts, seals. And gaskets. Everything is rubberized. Because you have two surfaces that have to seal, and so when you look at those seals and you think about the age, just like the born on date on tires, you know, every tire has a born on date that tells you when that tire was made, and the E limit is 10 years, and the way you can tell is on the outside of the tread. Now it used to be on the inside wall, but on the outside wall, not tread, but the wall, you'll see a list of alphanumeric numbers, and the last four numbers give you the born on date. Let's say it was the number was 3212. That means that tire was made the 32nd week of 2012. And if it had 0214, it means it was made the second week in 2014. So all of the manufacturers, and we're talking every one of them. And I'm a General Tire. You know, General Tire is a fantastic tire, so I'm pro General Tire. But even all of the other manufacturers agreed that 10 years is their limit, although 6 years is the limit on the warranty, but 10 years is the limit on the age of a tire from the born on date. And this is valuable information, so that when you go to a tire store and you got such a deal on a tire, you want to look at the date, because you could be buying a tire that's 5 years old. Anyway, hey, thanks for your call, and let us know how it works out for you. Thank you. How interesting it is to me for a consumer like Jerry to talk to other guys and or gals like me in the business, and they immediately condemn the vehicle that he drives, or at least they start throwing negative opinions that way. And there are parts of every car line that I could do that with. The cars that I drive have had the latest car that I bought is a nice car. It has some vibration problems that I finally got straightened out, and I was the major mover in that repair, and it took some time and patience, and I was patient because I love the automobile. And I know it's a piece of machinery. So machines, when they turn and they operate, they make noise, or they have NVH. It's called noise, vibration, and harshness. And when you look at new cars that are every pound on a new car, they shave every pound possible on a new car. Why? So they can increase the gas mileage. Well, when you shave pounds off of an automobile, you increase the likelihood of vibrations and or harshness. And just think of a gong show. You know, you hit the gong, it makes a gong, but if you attached a 5-pound lead weight to the back of the gong, it'd go thud. Well, with a car, you wouldn't attach a 5-pound weight to anything, because you're trying to take 5 ounces off wherever you can. In fact, the Corvette actually installed a little device that saved, I think, 1.2 pounds on a rear air vent, just to save the 1.2 pounds. They changed it, And this was so you could close the deck lid. You know how you on a hatchback, if you try to close the glass, it's hard to close the glass because you have to push air out. And so they modified that vehicle to make it easier to close the glass, but really behind closed doors they modified it because they saved 1.5 pounds. And 1.5 pounds here and 1.5 pounds there. The next thing you know, you're up to 100 pounds. Now, what's 100 pounds worth? 10 horsepower. Or what's 100 pounds cost? 10 horsepower. And economy, fuel economy, is all about power to weight ratio. And speaking of fuel, here we go again. National average U.S. regular gasoline prices, $1.82. And it's down in every region of the country from last week. And it's down with 9 out of 10 regions from same time last year. The only difference is the West Coast. So the highest price that I see here on the West Coast is $2.37 a gallon. The lowest price I see is the Gulf Coast at $1.59, $1.59 a gallon. That amazes me.
Where around here can I get gas for $1.59? I haven't seen that.
Well, I can show you because we have sites, Kevin, that when you want to find the gas, best price, there are sites. And I can't recall off the top of my head which site to go. I can tell you where to find ethanol and E15, and that's what you need to know. And by the way, I think in my heart of hearts, and I truly believe this, and it's not specifically about ethanol that I'm about to make this statement. It's about renewable energies and renewable fuels and biofuels, which is biodiesel and biobutanol, and ethanol, of course, is included. Both corn-based ethanol and cellulosic-based ethanol, which they both are made from the starches. But here's the bottom line. I believe that the oil industry is reducing the price of gasoline to help take away the reason that we should go forward with alternative energies, i.e., if there's no profit in it, why should we do that? If we can buy gas for $1.50, $2, why not just stick with it? Because they've been there over 100 years. That's what I truly believe. And what does that mean? It means about the time we drop these initiatives, well, I don't think that we will, but if we did, next thing you know, we're back up to $4 a gallon or 5 or 6. And by that time, all of these smaller companies would be out of business. And that's just not going to happen. We're smarter than that, and we have the persistence to hang around and work through it. Hey, thanks for joining me this hour. I'm Bobby Likis. See you next hour. Like us, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
This Tire Maintenance Minute is brought to you by General Tire and its complete line of winter tires, including the Ultimax Arctic, Grabber Arctic, and Grabber Arctic LT. Visit GeneralTire.com to learn more. Winter weather's here, so is this the year you opt for winter tires? If temp regularly falls below 45 degrees where you live, it's probably a good idea. Once the temperature drops below 45, an all-season tire's ability to grip the road decreases, resulting in longer stopping distances, less driving control, and less confidence. It can mean the difference between focused braking power and out-of-control handling. If you do buy winter tires, make sure you outfit your vehicle with 4 tires. Don't skimp and put them only on the drive end of the car. General Tire's Ultimax Arctic has 270 degrees of multi-angle sipes and thousands of biting edges to maximize traction in any direction. The Grabber Arctic and Grabber Arctic LT feature General Tire's innovative Duragen technology. Visit GeneralTire.com to learn more.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Bob, what's new? Last month I'm in Africa. When this wildebeest charges me, we butt heads and he's history. After I pull my guide from the jaws of an alligator, I dig into some beef jerky. I get heartburn. I take out my Rolaids as I'm fighting off a wild boar. In under 10 seconds, it starts working. Then the boar is bye-bye. My heartburn's gone.
Rolaids starts working in under 10 seconds? You expect me to believe that?
It's true. Rolaids starts neutralizing acid in under 10 seconds. ROLAIDS spells relief. Use as directed.
While Johnny Kim was getting ready for the first customers of the day, someone else was looking at Larger's face for his growing business. At 3 o'clock, while the Curtis family was watching their daughter's soccer game, someone else was walking a prospective tenant through one of their apartment buildings. And while Carmen Delabar was preparing for a fashion show, someone else met with an appraiser about her investment property. You've got a life. We let you live it. We're realtors. Real estate is our life.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1 minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And I want to welcome you to this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. What a great show we're having today. I hope it's a beautiful day where you are. I hope you're warm, and I hope that your car is serving you well, and I hope that you're serving your car well. That all sort of goes hand in hand there. When I come back from the break, I want to share with you more about Americans of all ages spurning driver's licenses. And this is a topic, Kevin, you and I have talked about this topic from time to time, and I found it very interesting, this report. And I'll share that with you. And I see that we have David already in the queue, and the phones. Oh, and I should invite you to call 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. And I'll take your calls when I come back from the break. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by PowerFrame Grid Technology. And now, through February 29th, you can save $10 instantly with the purchase of an Autocraft Gold or Autocraft Platinum AGM battery at Advanced Auto Parts or CarQuest. You can get your coupon at powerframe.com. Just go to powerframe.com. You'll find the coupon, and you can save yourself $10. Also, for you to know, cold weather and batteries, not a good idea, so you better have a good battery. I'm Bobby Likis. I'll be back after the break. Don't touch that dial. What's grinding you? Your brakes? Don't succumb to that daily grind. Stop it with Carlson. Whether you're a DIYer or a brake professional, choose Carlson quality brake hardware kits for the highest quality materials and processes. Carlson controls the design, engineering, and manufacturing of all their brake hardware, ensuring proper fit and performance. Why risk your brake job with inferior brake hardware that may not fit or perform properly? Eliminate the risk by asking for Carlson quality brake hardware kits for every brake job. This vehicle maintenance spotlight is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Nothing's more important than your vehicle's brakes. Though there's no substitute for scheduled maintenance, also be on the lookout for signs of trouble, like your car pulling or a shuddering steering wheel. Trust the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to help you choose the brakes that are an exact fit for your vehicle. Brands you trust like Brake Best Select, and Wagner Thermal Quiet at guaranteed low prices. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. And now to the Car Clinic inbox. Mike writes, Bobby, driving in Seattle's rainy weather, I've lost traction in my car enough times to scare me. What tires should I consider when it's time to replace mine? Mike, if you're losing traction, now may be the time to replace your tires. A terrific choice is General Tire's Ultimax RT43 with its peak anti-slip design technology, which increases the number of biting edges for traction on slippery roads. And you won't have to guess or measure tread depth when it's time to replace these tires. The Ultimax RT43 features an integrated replacement tire monitor, which clearly reads, replace when a tire change is needed. And one more cool feature of the Ultimax RT43, Early Warning Visual Alignment Indicator, which extends tire life by visually identifying vehicle misalignment. For more information about the Ultimax RT43, go to GeneralTire.com. That's GeneralTire.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
Car dealers like playing games. They play percentage points, they play markups, but I don't like playing with my money. So I got my auto loan through LendingTree.com. I filled out one simple form, a marketplace of banks and lenders competed over it, and I got 4 offers back within hours. After all, the car buying game is a lot easier to win when you're holding all the cards.
LendingTree.com. When banks compete, you win. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
Hospice isn't a place, it's a face. And Regency Hospice delivers more faces to you and your loved one when life matters most. Faces of nurses, nursing assistants, social workers, and chaplains. Regency's skilled, compassionate professionals deliver comfort and individualized care. When that time of life comes to you, Regency Hospice will be there for you. Go to regencyhospice.com for more, including Hospice for Heroes Veterans Recognition Program.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you for tuning in to Bobby Likis Car Clinic today. Just as a reminder, every Saturday from 10 till noon Eastern Time, we come to you through your local AM and or FM radio stations. And also, you can tune in to Watch Bobby Live. That's Watch Bobby Live directly on our YouTube channel, which is a full HD. It's really way cool. You can pause it, you can rewind it, you can take another look at it, if you didn't hear the answer. And also, we make this show available on just a list of social media. And with that, we have, of course, the Facebook.com/Bobby Likis, Twitter.com, and Pinterest.com. And you need to go to Facebook.com/Bobby Likis with regard to the tickets, because we're giving away a pair of tickets and 2 nights stay in Daytona, thanks to the Country Inn and Suites in Daytona, a great place to stay. I know, I have personally been there, and the Daytona track this year, if you heard the previous hour of today's broadcast, is over the top. I'm going to go directly to the phones now so that I can answer more and hear more from you, answer more of your questions as well as hear from you. So first in was David, so he's going to be first out. David, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding. You're on the air.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
First of all, I want to thank you for your program. I love listening to the just even the trivia that you put out there. It's information, and I always enjoy the program. I was listening to you guys talk about the gas prices, and I got on a website that I've got an app on my phone for Gas Buddy.
Right.
And $1.31 in Memphis, and I thought that was really good. And then I looked, and in Van Buren, $1.21.
That's amazing.
I wish we had some of that down here on the Gulf Coast.
That is amazing. $1.21. Well, David, do you have any thoughts on why gasoline is so cheap?
All I've got is conspiracy theories. The Saudi Arabians are trying to take and put some of our trackers out of business, as many as they can, and that way they can hurt us and cripple us and cause us to be more needy of their oil. And I'm not totally sold on ethanol. I've had some things happen to some motors that I've had to deal with, some of the carburetors and stuff. And I'm not saying that it's not a good thing,
right.
But like I said, I'm not totally sold on it. Like I said, I appreciate your show, and you're always giving me some information that I can check out, and I appreciate that.
Well, I thank you for your confidence and your candor, and I agree that the price of gasoline that we're seeing is more about, and I hesitate to use a conspiracy because that's what big media, and seeing, for me, that's like a big media. Oh, there's a big conspiracy. But I've often wondered if there's not some group of people in some boardroom somewhere and there's plenty of groups of people in plenty of boardrooms everywhere, but I mean that are controlling major shipments of oil. And when you mentioned about putting the United States, we're fracking and putting us out of business, our own business, or at least slowing down the efforts and the investment. That's already happening, because if you and I were going to partner in an ethanol plant, I'd have to turn you, but that's okay. But if you and I were going to partner in an ethanol plant, and you put up, say, 10 million, and I put up 10 million, and then we heard 2 years down the road, it's going to take us 2 years to finish the project, but we heard 2 months down the road that, the gasoline is going to be cheap, then we might not want to build that. The bottom line, there has to be an octane additive added to fuel, and that's where, so that's the future, as I see, of ethanol, because it's a 113 rating, and also every molecule of ethanol has 35% oxygen, so it's an oxygenant as well. And trust me, the oil companies, if they could use their own, like they used lead to start with, and then MTBE, if they could use something that they made in their own plants, they would not buy the 10%. And ironically, last year, 2015, there was tremendous growth in the export of ethanol out of this country to the tune of $1.8 billion. And so that's a good thing. And China was number one on the buyers list, as I understand it. So that's a good thing. So I think that this too shall, as they say, this too shall pass. But we have to have the staying power, and we can't get cold feet, because if we get cold feet, and by saying that I mean we have to be in it for the long haul, because cleaner air and energies, that's the future. And of course, energy is the future, period. When I say period, you have to have energy to have lights come on, and to go from point A to point B, and to fly, and all the things that we sometimes maybe take for granted in life. So it will be most interesting in your thoughts, and I concur. I agree 100% that there is an absolute control of the price of crude, and if high price, see, the only thing that high prices, and David, you I'd like your opinion on this, then we'll move on to other calls. But when gasoline was headed toward $5 a gallon, there was no question about investors investing in renewable fuels, not just ethanol, but biofuels and renewable energies. So we sort of, now they may have egg on their face, because it's not $5 a gallon, but it will return when it's advantageous, not to our country, but to other countries.
I actually have another question or two, and I'll get off the line.
Okay.
I had a 1965 Mercury Comet. I drove it from Oklahoma City to South Alabama, and I was driving, this was in 1979.
Okay.
I was driving anywhere from 85 to 110 to 55 miles an hour. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
I averaged on that trip, 25.6 miles to the gallon.
Mm-hmm.
A few years later, driving the sister to that one, another 65 Comet, it had been getting just as good a mileage, but the only thing that had changed was the time. I mean, as far as I know,
right.
This was like 5 years later.
Right.
And I only was getting 16 miles to the gallon, and I was driving a whole lot more conservative. And I was just wondering what the difference was in the miles per gallon. Had they changed the gas chemistry that much? Because it has been getting as good a mileage driving around town and on short trips, but whenever I have not a clue what was going on there. Also, I'm driving an E450 2016 model, and I have had to replace. I got 25,000 miles on it already, and I have had to replace the headlights, one side 4 times, the other side 2 times, and it's going in the shop on Monday to find out. Do you have any ideas on that? What I can tell them, and I'm going to get off here and let you answer that.
Okay, thank you, David. I appreciate it, and you can stay tuned and hear my replies. With regard to MPG, there are so many factors involved. It would be hard to say. So to clinically test, so to speak, MPG is what you would have to do, and you'd have to have the same car or the same engine on a dyno to really test to see what. I mean, the tests that we see the government perform are special. They're more accurate today than ever before because my car gets, and I've got a luxury car with a 5.5-inch stretch version, and I get 26.7 miles per gallon at 77 miles per hour. And I've made 5 trips to Tallahassee and back, which is a 400-mile round trip. So I know what it gets, and it historically gets that. So how? Well, because it has direct injection and 11.5 to 1 compression ratio, and the engine is tuned for clean air and tuned to maximize the torque, and that torque is where you get the horsepower. Plus, it has an 8-speed transmission, and it goes into that 8th gear. The engine is slowed way down as compared to road speed. So with your 2 other cars, your earlier model automobiles, that would definitely be affected by the gear ratio and the engine and the jetting of the engine and the timing. And those cars had advanced curves and mechanical timing that was really sloppy. In fact, that was one of the major differences between my shop and others is that I bought a $2,200 machine, this is in the 70s, just to replace points and condenser because I would pull the distributor out of the vehicle rather than put points and condenser in it. And that way I would check the advanced curve and quite candidly modified it as well. Your second question, we'll have to wait till I come back. And then calls, I'll take yours. Don't touch that dial. This is Bobby Likis with a shout out to all fans of the Daytona 500. WNDB and the Car Clinic Network are sending 2 lucky people to the Daytona 500 on us. You'll enjoy hotel accommodations Saturday and Sunday nights, February 21st and 22nd, compliments of Daytona Beach Country Inn and Suites. And then on Sunday, February 23rd, you'll be our guest at the 58th running of the Daytona 500. Compliments of the Daytona Flea and Farmers Market. Go to Facebook.com/Bobby Likis and message me, Bobby, I want to win Daytona 500 tickets. Or go to WNDBNewsTalk.com for more ways to win. Be a winner. See firsthand the new $400 million improvements made to the Daytona International Speedway, home of NASCAR. So go to Facebook.com/Bobby Likis and message me, Bobby, I want to win Daytona 500 tickets. Deadline is Sunday, February 14th. Winner announced on the 15th. The relationship with your vehicle is about trust. You trust in your car or truck to get you to work or play. So when your car needs to be repaired, make sure you trust the parts your technician uses to get your vehicle going again. With over 100 years of OE expertise, Delphi has earned your trust. Delphi supplies OE automotive technologies to the world's top 25 vehicle manufacturers. Take fuel systems. Delphi covers 9 out of 10 vehicles on the road and is backed by a lifetime guarantee. Delphi has more than 30 OE proprietary innovations and 150 patents in fuel pump and module design alone. Delphi parts are tested in corrosive, contaminated fuel blends for long life. Some tests will run over 10,000 hours continuously. That's over 1 year nonstop. For over a century, Delphi has had a passion for making the parts that help vehicles worldwide run better, longer, and more efficiently. For more, go to DelphiAutoparts.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Telephone tip.
From Geico Auto Insurance.
When calling Geico to switch your car insurance, you will not need acetaminophen, naproxen, indomethacin, ibuprofen, a cold compress, an on-call acupuncturist, or any other pain remedy. In 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more. If it were any more painless, you could do it in your sleep, which is theoretically possible since we offer complete 24-hour service. Call 1-800-947-AUTO, 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
Some original thinking by Starbucks barista Frank Botex.
What I love most is getting customers to smile in the morning.
Starbucks is just a place to come and relax. Kick your feet back. I mean, it's a second home. Starbucks is now in a grocery store, and what better way to just become your own personal barista at home? You go to the grocery store, pick up some coffee, take it home, let the aroma take over your body.
Your favorite Starbucks coffee. At grocery, at home, at last.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. David's already left the line, but he had that one last question, so I'll just briefly share with you that anytime you have a light that's out and on a car, especially with today's high intensity lights, most often we see a problem with a socket. And some lights are 25,000 volts, and those lights, we had a Range Rover in here the other day that had a little transformer, but it was really neat because we had to take the headlight assembly out to gain access to the bulb, but it wasn't that hard to get the headlight assembly out. The grill, the headlights came out, and then we unclocked, which is a half turn or a quarter turn to the left, the transformer, and that gave us access to the bulb. Of course, when you replace the light bulb, unlike your home, in an automobile, you never want to touch the actual glass itself because it's so hot, and then the oil from your hand. So that's a no-no, and that could cause short life. But most often, if it's the same light that keeps burning out, then obviously you got a problem not with that many lights, but with that socket, or are you touching the bulb?
We had that exact problem here in the studio. One of our lights had a bad socket and kept going out.
We did. Yeah, we sure. Recently, I replaced that socket, which was a ceramic socket, and the studio lights were literally built around that little light socket was buried in there. It took me 30 minutes to do that, concentrated, which was entirely too long, but that's what it required. The point is this, folks. If you have multiple lights that are burning out, then you may have an over voltage condition, and that means that your car is producing more than 15 volts. And if that's the case, the first thing that will go out, because the more volts you push through a light, the brighter it will get until it goes, hey, wait, I can't stand but so much heat. Pop! So that's another to-do for you. And I hope that helps clear up for David some of his challenges. Let's move forward fast. Ted, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thank you for holding.
Bobby, great show. You're so kind. We need more people like you to have this type of service on the radio. Pat yourself on the back. You're a great person.
Thank you. I really appreciate your comment.
First thing.
Okay.
I'm a NASCAR nut all the way. I used to live in West Palm Beach when I met my wife. She was 15. I was 21. I took her to the race when she was 15. And we've been married for 35 years this year. And we just a whole downstairs is checkerboard floors. You got painting signed by drivers.
Wow.
I mean,
how cool.
Yeah,
Did you were you privy to the conversation I had with Joey Chitwood III earlier?
No, I was in the doctor's appointment. I just got in the car.
Okay. Well, after the show today, because you can go to the first hour, and Kevin, what time will that be posted on and where?
Well, the YouTube record of today's show will be up immediately as soon as this is done because we're live streaming it. So the podcast should be up by the end of the day.
Okay.
And everything else should be forthcoming in hours.
Thank you. And so, Ted, you could go to youtube.com/Bobby Likis, and you'll see the first hour. And the first segment, most of it, we had Joey Chitwood III, who is the president of Daytona International Speedway, and they just completed a $400 million overhaul. Well, it's more than an overhaul.
It's awesome.
It is. It's just unbelievable. And so I can't wait to go see that.
I live 30 miles from. I live. In Flagler
You're
Beach
there
Park,
then.
Flagler Beach Park.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, how can I help you?
It's the only section. It's the only section in pretty much in Florida. You don't have condos on the beach. It's beautiful.
Wonderful.
My 2006 F-150. It's when I get in the car in the mornings and all of a sudden it just goes and a big old grinding noise. Then it takes about 4 or 5 times to turn it. Then it starts.
Right.
What would that be?
The flywheel where the starter goes into the flywheel, and most engines, like a V8, will stop in one of 4 different positions because it fires every 90 degrees. So if you turn it off, it will come around, and then what makes it stop? It doesn't coast to a stop. The compression, as it slows, the compression will whoop and push against the piston, and so that engine will stop in one of 4 places versus at random, and that means that each one of those 4 places that it stops gets all of the starter engagement action. And so each of those, in the ring gear on the flywheel and the starter motor itself, wear. And with wear, all you have to have is a starter solenoid that is weak, or that's a pretty hostile environment down there. It's not sealed. Starters are sealed, but still they're in an environment that's not sealed from water and those sorts of things. And I mean, like brakes, it's beyond me how well brakes last, considering that they're down in the dirt all the time, the grit.
Oh, yeah.
So I truly believe that what needs to be done is the starter needs to be pulled, but not just the starter. And you wouldn't pull the transmission to put a flywheel in it until you turned the engine. You'd pull the starter, and then you would turn the engine by hand, slowly, meticulously, and go 360 degrees, looking at every group of teeth through the starter's port where the starter bolts on, and then you could see the wear and tear. Now, it's possible that if the ring gear on the flywheel is not badly damaged, and there's always tooth damage because you got metal on metal. That's how it works.
Right.
So there's possible that you could put a new or reman starter assembly and get by for another couple of years, or it's possible that that you've got one area that just so happens that engine loves to stop in that one area more often than not, and you've got 4 or 5 teeth in a row that are chewed away or half gone, and as a result, that starter's not getting a full bite. And I've done this just before I let you go. I've actually, when I had when I put, especially Chevrolets, because their starters weren't mounted the same as Ford's. They were mounted to the bottom of the block, and the bottom of the block had different machining, and so the nose of the starter from the factory was mated to that block, and all this had to do with relative location to the flywheel and the starter pinion. I would actually take a magic marker or dye that is used on a draftsman's table and paint the gears on the starter, bolt it in place, disconnect the ignition coil, and then remove it, and that would give me a contact patch to see exactly what the problem was. You see where I'm going? You got it?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, what would something like that cost, do you think?
Well, you have to pull a transmission to gain if you replace the flywheel. So you'd spend I don't know. I hazard a guess because different shops charge different amount of money depending on their overhead, right, and what they offer as benefits to their employees. I think in the case of this situation, you got an 06 model automobile, so I never recommend, and I don't like to use the word never, but rarely would I recommend calling around to get the best price. I think you need to find a quality shop, ASE technician, and ask them what they would charge you to inspect, per our conversation, all of the teeth on the flywheel, and then and only then will you get the information. And then once you get that information, you'll have the option, because all they have to do is pull the starter off and use patience and turn the engine by hand. That is not a hard job. It's not like they have to do open hood surgery, but they do have to be observant, and they should do that for you.
Does that have anything to do with my transmission?
Well, yeah, they have to pull the transmission to gain access to the flywheel. And to that end, you'd want to replace the front transmission seal while you had it out, which doesn't mean the transmission has to come apart. You just replace the seal, and you would have them do that anyway. They would. In fact, they should insist on doing that, because just sure as they don't, But let's face it, when the torque converter is disconnected from the flywheel, it will hang on the front nose of the transmission, and it will put pressure on the seal in a different fashion than it does now, because now it's all bolted together and properly aligned, but it will sag when you disconnect the two pieces because it doesn't have the connection to the flywheel. So that's why you'd want to replace the seal, because just sure as shooting, the transmission seal would leak, and you say, well, why didn't you replace that? Well, you paid us to put a flywheel in there, not a transmission seal. You see where I'm going?
Right.
Yeah, okay. Hey, thanks for your call. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Who's next? How about New York? Gary, Art. Let's go to North Carolina, and then Gary, you're next in New York. Art, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic from North Carolina.
Thank you, Bobby. This is not my first time to call. I have called you before. In fact, I even have you on my contact list on my cell phone.
Oh, that's cool.
But anyway, I've been wanting to talk to you about a problem that exists on my 1996 Mazda truck, pickup truck. I had it in the shop to have it realigned and make sure that the lineup was good and all that stuff, and they did that. And then short time after that, I noticed that there was some wobbling in the as I drove, even slow. There was some wobbling in the front end, and so I took it back and thinking that they either didn't get the alignment right, or something had happened since then.
Right.
And he drove it, and he says, no, your problem is in the tires.
Okay.
Your tires are bad. And the tires were in pretty good shape as far as tread was concerned.
Right.
And I questioned that a little bit, but I went ahead and had all new tires put on, and I'm still getting, it's less now, but I'm still getting this wobbling effect. And I was wondering if you had any suggestions on what that could possibly be. I thought about maybe the shock absorbers. And this car has only got about 82,000. This truck's only got about 82,000 actual miles on it, and it has had new shock absorbers put on by the previous owner.
Okay.
But do you have any suggestions?
Well, I have a quick question. What is the but the question that I'll have to wait. Darn those brakes, those commercials. So Art, you stay right there. Gary, Joanna, and I'll be back as quickly as we get over. This is Bobby Likis with a shout out to all fans of the Daytona 500. WNDB and the Car Clinic Network are sending 2 lucky people to the Daytona 500 on us. You'll enjoy hotel accommodations Saturday and Sunday nights, February 21st and 22nd, compliments of Daytona Beach Country Inn and Suites. And then on Sunday, February 23rd, you'll be our guest at the 58th running of the Daytona 500, compliments of the Daytona Flea and Farmers Market. Go to Facebook.com/Bobby Likis and message me, Bobby, I want to win Daytona 500 tickets. Or go to WNDBNewsTalk.com for more ways to win. Be a winner. See firsthand the new $400 million improvements made to the Daytona International Speedway, home of NASCAR. So go to Facebook.com/Bobby Likis and message me, Bobby, I want to win Daytona 500 tickets. Deadline is Sunday, February 14th. Winner announced on the 15th.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
You can call them used. You can call them previously driven. You can call them anything you want. The point is somebody, maybe even a dozen somebodies, owned the car before you did. And before you put down your hard-earned dollars for the car, you deserve to know exactly where it's been. Get a vehicle history report from Carfax.com. They'll give you the real history of any used car. Visit CARFAX.com or ask your dealer for a Carfax report. Don't buy a used car without Carfax.
I, Dennis Walker, pledge allegiance to the roof. I know it'll be clean. I know it will be comfortable. And I know that if the phone rings when I'm in the shower, I can just let it ring. For I have voicemail. Red Roof Inn, one room, under budget, with free cable and local calls for all.
98% of Red Roof guests are so satisfied with their visit, they plan to come back. Now that's not just loyalty, that's allegiance. For reservations, call 800-RED-ROOF.
We're a land of cynics. We don't believe anything anymore. You know why? Because we've been told we've won $1 million, that it's new and improved, that it slices and dices, that our favorite singer is still alive, that we'll be prosecuted if we cut off the tags, and of course that everything is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So when we hear the words customer service, we don't believe it. Travelocity isn't surprised if you're a little skeptical when they say they have excellent customer service, and that there's actually a pleasant face behind this website, a living, breathing person with a supercharged computer full of answers. Someone who's willing to help when you get lost, and most of all, someone that will actually pick up the phone when you call with a question or a concern. Customer service is just another example of how Travelocity puts you in control of travel. Chances are you'll never have to use it, but it's good to know it'll be there if you need it. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. The number for you to call is 888-CAR-CLINIC. That's 888-227-2546 if you have a car question or just want to share a car story. We're talking with Art in North Carolina. And Art, my question before I was so rudely interrupted by the commercials was to you. You mentioned that it wobbles even at slow speeds now. So I literally want to know how slow you can go to get a wobble, and you're on a flat top, nice road, and you're going what speed?
Oh, probably 20 miles an hour.
Okay, all right.
15, 20 miles.
Then to me, that lets out balance. That also lets out. I say lets out. It takes away from my experiences ball joints or tie rod ends or suspension members, because literally you could take any wheel and tire assembly that is round and roll it at 20 miles an hour, and for it to feedback wobble all the way back up the steering wheel, which means that the tire wheel assembly itself has to move side to side violently enough or powerfully enough that it pushes the gearbox and then it pushes in the steering wheel. So let's face it, the machine is manufactured so that you have more power than the wheels, or else the wheels will be steering themselves, and that's called feedback. And in fact, some cars, vehicles, years ago, a Chrysler had what's called full-time power steering, and it was really a great idea, and it sold a lot of cars, but the steering was too easy. So you could overdrive that car because you didn't have a feel of the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I say this. I say that what I would do first, and I really don't care if someone has told you this is okay. What I would do personally is I would put that car on a rack. I would use a dial indicator to check the run out, which means the roundness and trueness of the wheels. And I mean laterally as well as radially. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so,
yes.
So, because there's something, and you replace the tires, and that helped, but there's a problem in some tires. Not that I'm saying that your new tires have this problem, but there's conicity, which is the term that will cause a car to steer one way or the other if one of the interior strengthening treads, not the tread that you see, but the interior cords, is separated. Think of a conicity is like you take an ice cream cone
and roll it on a desk or a coffee cup that's tapered, and roll it on a desk, it rolls in a circle, and that's a conicity. And what happens is you can look at a tire, and it looks beautiful, and you can roll it on the rack, and it looks great. But you put the weight of, it's called forced runout. You put the weight of the car on it, and one side sags because it's weaker, and when it sags, it's shorter, and it will steer the car. And on many occasions, and I say many over the years, I've actually taken the right front wheel and the left front wheel of a car that was perfectly aligned but still pulling in one direction, and moved each front wheel and traded positions. And if you can make the car steer that was steering to the right, pull to the left by moving the tires, you know it's the tires calling the pull. Now,
well, see, that's what it was doing before I changed the tires. It was pulling to the right. After I changed the tires, it drives pretty straight. It just has this irritating wobble, and it does it at higher speeds than that, too.
Well, sure, it's going to do it. But see, at higher speeds, a balance could come into play, and a balancing machine needs to be recalibrated. I know, because we have one of those electronic marvels that I paid $6,000 for, and you can balance a tire, and you check it 2 weeks later, and you can balance the tire, and you check it 2 weeks later. I mean, you can always nitpick, and I'm anal about this stuff. So I'm saying there's no such thing as perfect, and I learned that from a true Jedi, a gentleman who was a tool and die maker for the Naval Air Station at Pensacola. And he did work for me one time, and I said, wow, that's perfect. And he looked at me as serious as some older gentleman could look at a younger guy. I was racing cars, and he'd say, no, Bobby, he said, it's not perfect. He said, it's pretty close. And I'll never forget that. So, Art, have a shop to test the lateral runout of the wheels to make sure that your wheels are rolling forward and true on a circle, and also not moving from side to side. And then there's also the possibility that even the new tire could have a defective part, and it could be, when it gets to that side, laying down. But usually when you see this, and I see this all the time because I'm anal about that, I'll see a car in front of me as they start to stop at a red light. You'll see the back of the car, whoop, whoop, whoop. It sags to the left and back to the right, left and back to the right, and that's the rear of the car, and it's the tire that's doing it. And I often think, well, how do people drive a car like that? But anyway, that's as much information that I can have the time to share with you. But please do follow through.
What would you think about me having them, before I go to all that, what do you think about me having them switch the tires from the front to the back?
Well, because wait.
I mean, not the tires.
No, the wheels. Yeah, no, you don't want to do that, because you're not looking to patch it. You're looking to find the problem. And if you start moving wheels and it goes away, you haven't found it. You just don't feel it. It's back there instead of up there. So you want to find, while you got it up there, you want to be, it's there because it's telling you it's there. So if you start moving it around and put it on the rear, it doesn't have the authority because it's hooked to a solid axle on the rear. So your problem will go away until later down the road you rotate tires again, and well, here comes the same problem. What happened? So this is an opportunity for you to find the problem. I mean, that's my makeup, and that's what I would suggest.
So the lateral movement is what you want me to
sideways. Yes, you want to make sure it's sideways. You know, and it's round as well. It's round and it rolls, and circumference is round, and also side to side is round, and you do that with a dial indicator. Hey, good luck to you, Art, and thanks so much for your call. We'll take a call from Gary in New York. Gary, thank you for holding. Gary, you're on the air, sir. Finally.
Thank you so very much, Bobby.
You're welcome.
I love your show.
Thank you. I love to hear that.
Well, I can't get you inside the house, so you drain the battery on my car every Saturday morning. My wife says, "Where you going?" "Oh, you're going out to listen to your car show."
I hear you.
two old vehicles. My kids finally talked me into buying a new car. I got a 2013 Toyota Camry. I've only got 19,000 miles on it because I'm retired now.
Those are good cars.
But in the last 3 weeks, I've got this loud whistling noise on the left side of the car that starts at about 20 miles an hour, and then it'll go on pretty much all the time, no matter what speed I'm going. But if I apply the brakes, it goes away.
Okay. How many miles on it?
19,000.
Recently, I know what's wrong with it. Well, I don't know. It's impossible to know. But I suspect that there's something lodged between the pad and the rotor. And what's interesting about this, Gary, you know, you talk about deja vu. What's interesting about this is that on our Pinterest board, we posted a picture recently of a vehicle that had 18,000 miles. It was, I think, a Lexus. You can go to pinterest.com/Bobby Likis, and in the shop with Bobby Likis, and there are boards there on Pinterest. You go to in the shop board, and we pinned this picture, and we had a customer that had a complaint similar to yours. It was louder than yours, and we inspected the vehicle and found a piece of wood about the size of your little finger had wedged itself, not in the brakes and rotors, because they're full on. It had wedged itself between the backing plate, which is a shield, and the inside rotor, and it was stuck there. And we took the Johnny, who was another. He's our lead technician, Johnny Bars. He's a ASE master certified technician. He took whatever he had to take apart and took pictures of it, and we posted it, and you know, the noise went away. And so I truly believe that you have debris that is lodged somewhere, and the fact that you hit the brakes, the noise goes away. Now, if you had a car that had a bunch of miles and the brakes were worn out, there some cars have little scrubbers like a chalk on a chalkboard, and they warn you that a squealing noise, that you need brake pads so that you don't end up ruining the brake rotors. I thought that was a great idea and I don't know if GM was the first one to come out, but I always thought that was a great idea. So that's what I would do if I were you. Go to a shop. Can you tell me if it's left front or right front or the front or the rear?
I know it's on the left side, but I couldn't tell you for absolute sure. It sounds maybe more like the front.
Well, it never hurts for brake inspection, so go to your local service shop there in New York and tell them that you would like them to inspect, which means put the car on the rack, take the wheel off, and inspect the rotor and the pads, or at least to ride with you if you can make it do it. Just make sure it's not raining or snowing, because that'll lubricate whatever's squealing and it won't make the noise probably.
Okay, let me ask you one quick question. Now, I'm due for service on the 24th of next month.
Okay.
Should I get it into the dealer before that, or do you think I
would? I would, because I had a piece of steel in a Volvo that belonged to a doctor here, and his car had 9,000 miles on it, and the steel was lodged, and it cut a groove in the rotor. We took the pad off, pulled the piece of steel out, or debris, whatever it was, rock or whatever, and threw it away. And we left the rotor with a score all the way around, because so what? It didn't hurt anything, you know. It just was a score. But if we had caught it if he'd brought it in when he first heard the noise, then he wouldn't have had as deep a score. So I would say take it in now, so you're early for your inspection. Have it all done at the same time. Don't wait on the schedule because you have a noise now in your car saying, "Help me, help me." Okay, you got it.
Okay, I'll go back in the house, tell my wife that Bobby Likis helped me out again.
All right, thanks for calling, Gary. Stay warm. Okay, Washington, he's been waiting for a long time. Victor in Washington, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Yeah, thank you, Bobby. You got a lot of information. I want to ask you about, you were telling about an opposing cylinder engine, a new one come out, didn't have any valves. What happened to that engine?
Well, they're a company, Dr. Peter Hofbauer, Professor Peter Hofbauer, designed it. He was with VW for 20 years. He designed the VW20 diesel engine. He started that engine, and I went to see it in Livonia, Michigan, and Vinod Khosla, who is a venture capitalist, and Bill Gates, actually later on, after I was there, I wish I'd seen them when I was there, but they came in later on and gave him an additional $34 million, and he designed this engine, and he was testing it, and I saw one running on the dyno, and I saw one in another dyno cell, and he was renting engine cells from Roush Racing, and I saw bits and pieces, and he was at that time working on reinventing the wrist pin because it's a two-cycle engine, and that's the number one wear part of a two-cycle engine, and he redesigned the wrist pin. And then the last thing that I heard, and that was Eco Motors, by the way, Victor, Eco Motors. So the last thing that I heard, that the company changed names, so I guess Professor Hofbauer maybe wanted to retire, or he's on the board of directors. I'm not sure exactly what his position is, but he was a really smart fellow and a really nice gentleman, and he gave me carte blanche, and I walked and I saw things that about his design that I don't know that he would share with many people. But so I always,
Did that have one crank? Did that have one crank or two?
One
crank. So they had connecting rods going back down from the one cylinder that was away from the.
Yeah, it had
crank.
It had two sets of had three connecting rods per cylinder. Two were like braces on a person with polio on the outside, long arms, long rods, and that worked the outer piston that went out and came back in, and then on the crank on the inside was one regular rod that pushed the inside piston. So whenever the inside piston would go out, the outside piston would go in, and the two piston heads would create the combustion chamber, and that's how it worked. And that's all the time that I have, and I thank you for your call. Call me earlier, Victor, next week, and Joanna, you as well. Folks, thanks for tuning in. I'm Bobby Likis. Likis, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Ethanol by the numbers. 113, ethanol's octane rating, 90,200. Jobs ethanol created in 2011, 45%. Lower oil import dependency level due to ethanol. 25.3 million tons of greenhouse gas emissions reduced by ethanol's use. $1.09 per gallon reduction in wholesale gasoline prices enabled by ethanol in 2011. 42.4 billion ethanol's contribution to the gross national product. 6 million miles traveled in testing E15. 2001 model year and newer light-duty vehicles approved for E15 use. 1.7 to 2.3 units of energy ethanol yielded for every unit used to produce it. 20. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Ricey Outfitters, I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle, Loden, or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Can't we just call it yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart
make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning. Happy morning, your name is Folgers Mountain Grow. Now you're here.